Assalamualaikum, Om Swastiastu, Salam Nama Budaya. My name is Amory. I am the representative of SGD B3, and today my group and I will present about the role of calcium in nerve transmission. In our group, these are the members. There is Gede Ngurah Pratama Winata, Gusti Frangipani, Angelique Cynthia, Chintami Masella, Satria Wedananta, Irrene Carla, Nadya Zalfa Aqilah, Huliana Lim, myself Amory, Tyas Parahita Wirawan, Stephanie Violina Theobald, and Putu Artika Darma Yoga. Please enjoy.
My name is Gusti Frangipani Vedanti. My student identification number is 20025111064. Today, I'd like to tell you about our background in this student project. Sensitivity and movement are two out of several characteristics of living organisms. Human is able to carry out this irritability function by virtue of a specially developed cells called neurons. Neurons, together with their effectors, are responsible for most of the mechanisms happening inside the human body. All responses performed by the human body are initiated by a stimulus that will be transmitted through the membrane of neurons as an action potential. This mechanism by which neuron works includes ions such as calcium.
Hello, my name is Satria Wedananta, and my student identification number is 200251171. So, we've talked about how calcium is important in the mechanism of the nervous system. It turns out that calcium is a mineral commonly used by a wide array of organisms, ranging from bacteria to human, to conduct signal transduction. Thus, it is responsible to most of the characteristics of living things. An abnormality of calcium regulation can cause tremendous impact on the health of a person. It can bring about a mild symptom such as fatigue to a life-threatening one such as cancer. Therefore, calcium is a very important factor of the maintenance of human physiology, considering it is also important to events such as the contraction of the muscle tissue. Knowing this, it becomes apparent that a further and better understanding of calcium and its effect on the human body can greatly benefit doctors and other healthcare professionals in treating conditions related to calcium abnormality. As such, this paper aims to explain the general duty of calcium in the human body, role of calcium in nerve transmission, and diseases related to calcium deficiency.
Hello everyone, my name is Chintami Masella, and my student identification number is 2002511070. According to the problem identification that has been presented by my friend through the background of the student project, the problems conferred can be formulated are as follows. What is the role of calcium in nerve transmission? How does calcium perform its function in nerve transmission? What is the origin of calcium and also its subject? Where does calcium derive from? How many functions can be maintained by calcium ordinarily, also specifically in nerve transmission? And last but not the least, what types of disease can be ensued from calcium deficiency? Objectives of this student project are as follows. First, to clarify the origin of calcium and its location in human body. Secondly, to elucidate about the intake of calcium in human body. Third, to decipher the role of calcium in human body, especially in nerve transmission. Fourth, to enhance the understanding of the mechanism entangled by calcium during the nerve transmission. Fifth, to illustrate the process of nerve transmission and its correlation with calcium. And last, to educate the readers by showing diseases related to calcium deficiency. These are the benefits of writing the student project. First, theoretical benefits. Aims to invigorate knowledge and cognition of the role of calcium in the human body, especially during the nerve transmission. These contents intend to amplify the understanding of the origin of calcium, its function, also the crucial process and role of calcium in nerve transmission, also the mechanism in the transmission in human body. Also, the practical benefits practically are these student projects expected to be beneficial in the form of increasing the knowledge of society about calcium, that the intake of calcium can be maintained perfectly in daily life.
Hello, my name is Ngurah Pratama Winata with student ID number 225-11061. In this presentation, I will cover about Chapter 2, General Duty of Calcium in Human Body, Point 2, Point 1, Point 1, the origin of calcium. So, calcium is a nutrient related to metabolism and bone formation. Calcium concentration are predominantly in bone and teeth, about 99% in the form of calcium phosphate hydroxide, and only distributed in blood plasma around 1%. The balance of calcium level in body is very important in maintaining the contraction and relaxation of muscle. Some of that are skeletal muscle and blood vessel, and also the transmission of null impulse, which requires a tight regulation in the body. To maintain the balanced calcium level in body, calcium intake is needed from the diet, which will then absorbed through the intestinal tract. A normal person more than 1 year is need about 918 to 1296 milligram per day. The source of calcium can be obtained from the processed food, like dairy products such as yogurt and cheese, which are the domain source of calcium. In general type of daily intake, the diet usually has low calcium level, less than 400 milligram, and heat necessary for calcium. Furthermore, phosphorus and magnesium mineral intake directly affect osteoblast activity for calcium storage in bone. In addition, iron intake also included important micronutrients along with vitamin D to form bone structure by forming collagen network. That is all from me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nadya Zalfa Aqilah, and my student identification number is 20025111079. And in this occasion, I would like to explain about more like a general function of calcium in our body. So calcium is a necessary thing of the skeleton, and the skeleton presents a reservoir of calcium for different crucial calcium structure features at some stage in the frame. So the skeleton serves at least three major features. First, calcium as a part of the mineral hydroxyapatite, and it's deposited into the natural matters of the skeleton and is vital for its shape, and it's important for tissue rigidity, electricity, and elasticity. This characteristic lets in regular motion and exercise. Second, the skeleton feature as a supply of mineral and alkali, consequently, is vital for basic mineral homeostasis. So the skeleton is the main depot for calcium, containing a 98% of general frame calcium, and may known as repeatedly through the thickness of bone formation and reabsorption. This is to preserve circulating degrees of calcium at consistent level. So excessive calcium resorption can compromise the integrity and elasticity of the skeletal tissues. And the third is the marrow hollow space of bone serve as the main web page for the improvement of homeostatic cells and as the main compartment of the immune system. Several of the molecular kinds of concern in bone transformation originate within the bone marrow compartment, like stromal or connective tissue cells, are observed within the bone marrow at one time. So they are now taken into consideration multipowerful stem cell, which can come to be both fats or bone cell below the impact of unique differentiation factors. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Chintami Gemma Masella, And my student identification number is 2002511070. Today I would like to tell you furthermore about the calcium function. Not only that, the skeleton advances terminated a process of either intermembranous or endochondral bone formation, reckoned on its occupation and operational function. But as we're looking over here, it was concluded that giving a dose of 1200 milligrams per day had a significant impact on absorption and directly affected bone growth in accordance with the amount of calcium absorption that occurred. But we mustn't forget that the most important function of calcium that will be unveiled in our student project is related to nerve transmission. In the nerve ending, calcium triggers neurotransmitter release by initiating a lower calcium receptor affinity. Accordingly, high calcium concentrations are needed in order to come up with action potential. However, specifically will be explained meticulously by my friend.
Hello, my name is Tyas Wirawan and my student ID number is 20025111082, and I would like to present about the definition of neurotransmission. Neurotransmission is the process of transferring information from the nervous system to target organs through the neurons. Nerve transmission also refers to the action of releasing neurotransmitters on the presynaptic membrane to bind with the receptors on the postsynaptic membrane to transmit the signals. Neurotransmission can be either small molecule transmitters or neuropeptides. The action of small molecule transmitters such as acetylcholine, norepinephrine, or dopamine usually occurs within milliseconds or less. In contrast, neuropeptides tend to cause prolonged action. The signal transfer mechanism occurs at a specialized area called synapse. During the transmission, there are several conditions on synapse that may inhibit or excite the process, such as acidity and drugs. For instance, strychnine, which can increase the excitability of neurons by inhibiting the action of some inhibitory transmitter substances. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Angelique Cynthia. My student ID number is 2002511068. I will continue the presentation. In this slide, I will tell you about the process of neurotransmission. The process of neurotransmission occurs at the junction where the neuron communicates with other neuron. It is called the synapse. The synapse consists of three elements. They are the presynaptic cell, which is formed by the terminal button of an axon, and then the postsynaptic cell, composed of the segment from the dendrite or the cell body, and then the synaptic cleft. This is the gap between these two structures. The process of neurotransmission starts when an electrical signal, also called the action potential, to reach the end of a neuron. There are three major steps in this process. The first one is when the action potential reaches the synaptic terminal. This is called the synaptic terminal. It will cause the foliage-gated calcium ion channel to open, and then the calcium ion will flow into the synaptic terminal. And then the second step, in response to the calcium ion influx into the synaptic terminal, it will cause the synaptic vesicles, which contain neurotransmitter, to fuse with the presynaptic cell membrane. It will release the neurotransmitter into the synaptic cleft. And the third step will be explained by my friend. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Huliana Lim. My student identification number is 20025111080. So now I'd like to tell you about the process of neurotransmissions. I will continue the presentations of my friend before. So now the steps number 3 is the neurotransmitter will bind to the receptor on the postsynaptic membrane. The binding of this receptor could cause the ion channels to open, and depending on which particular neurotransmitter will bind, the neuron might either get excited or inhibited. The neurotransmitter tells us what to do. Excitatory inhibitory neurotransmitter depolarize the postsynaptic neuron by making the insight more positive and bringing it closer to its action's potential threshold, making it more likely to fire the message on the next neuron. But an inhibitory neurotransmitter hyperpolarize the postsynaptic neuron by making the insight more negative, driving the charge down away from its threshold. So not only does the message not get passed along, it's now even harder to excite the portions of neuron.
My name is Putu of Darma Yoga. My student identification number is 2002511084. So now I would like to explain about the role of calcium in nerve transmission. Before I explain this material in detail, I would like to give my reasons why I choose these two processes from many processes in nerve transmission: the physical release and recruitment, and also priming and docking, because they are two main processes in nerve transmission. If the problems occur in these two components, neurotransmitter can't release better. Okay, the first process of nerve transmission is about the physical release and the physical recruitment. If we look in this graph, there are two main components. The first is the horizontal line. It is the concentration of calcium in micromolars, and also the vertical lines is the release rates and the physical recruitment rates in the physical per milliseconds. Okay, and also there are two lines in different colors. The first is orange lines. It is the physical recruitment, and also the black ones is the physical release. If we identify this graph, when the calcium concentration is about 0 until 0.5, the recruitment rate is much higher than the release rate. This is the range within which a large fraction of the pool of releasable vesicle remains available for release. In contrast, at calcium concentration above 5 micromolar, the release rates are higher than the vesicle recruitment rates. Therefore, the pool of vesicle will be decreased when calcium is maintained at such high concentration. The second process of nerve transmission is priming and docking. That this process can make the vesicle mature and ready for release. On the left side of the picture, we postulate that the step of molecular priming, the buildup of the release machinery, is followed by lateral mooring at the active zone. We call this step positional priming. This step will convert a slowly releasing vesicle into a rapidly releasing one. We have to postulate that this step is rate limiting, since we know that step 4, molecular priming, the recruitment of slowly releasing vesicles is fast. Also, we have to postulate that the step is strongly modulated by calcium.
Hello, my name is Amory. My student identification number is 2002-511081, and I will present about the topic disease-related calcium deficiency. So as we know, calcium is one of the most important minerals for our body. On average, our body needs 1,000 milligrams of calcium per day and 1,200 milligrams for elders per day. If we don't fulfill our calcium needs, then we might be at risk for calcium deficiency diseases. So let's look one of them. Social and cognitive deficits. According to a study and research in Canada, calcium deficiency could affect our brain, social approaches, and cognitive abilities. This research specifically relates to neuronal calcium sensor 1, a calcium receptor located in the cell membrane, which regulates many vital processes, including the synaptic transmission. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Stephanie with student number 2002511083. So the second one of the calcium deficiency related disease is social and cognitive deficits. According to a study and research in Canada, calcium deficiency could affect our brain, social approaches, and cognitive abilities. Research specifically relates to neuronal calcium sensor 1, a calcium receptor located in the cell membrane, which regulates many vital processes, including the synaptic transmission. Next one is Alzheimer's disease and other neurological diseases. Several disease cases, such as hyperparathyroidism, show the same trend with Alzheimer's disease, which is increased calcium and aluminum content in the brain. In Alzheimer's patients, the calcium and phosphate serum tend to be lower than chloride and parathyroid hormone. Research suggested that this condition is a cause of degenerative disease of the central nervous system.
My name is Irrene Carla Audithia Pranadiningrum with student identification number 2002511075. We've come to the conclusion that calcium is one of the most important minerals in our body, beside the other minerals such as potassium and sodium. Human body needs a sufficient amount of calcium. We need calcium intake from the diet, with general amount around 918 milligrams to 1,296 milligrams each day. The balance of calcium levels in the body has a significant role in the transmission of nerve impulses, which require a tight regulation in the body, which then maintain the homeostasis in the body. The role of calcium in the neurotransmission is triggering neurotransmitter release by initiating a lower calcium receptor affinity in the nerve ending. Accordingly, high calcium concentrations are needed, which survive merely for a very short period throughout action potentials, and are constrained to the vicinity of open calcium channels. The state when the amount of calcium ion in blood is under its normal rate is called calcium deficiency. This condition could cause several diseases such as hypocalcemia, brain disorder relating to social approaches and cognitive abilities, Alzheimer's disease, and other neurological diseases. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you.